Welcome to BWTM Sports. I hope you're having a good morning. It's 1:15 in the morning UK time, and we're about to talk about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. So there's a lot of things to talk about. First of all, there's been a deal that's been agreed, a two-fight deal between Joshua and, hold on a second, let me get this sorted. Shut that off there. So annoying when I get these notifications. Okay. Good evening, Denise. Hope you're well. Okay, so there's been a deal that's been agreed between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, apparently. But before we get into that, I want to go back in time. I want to go way, way back in time and talk about a forecast I had back when Joshua fought Joseph Parker. And many people tuned into the channel. And I made a statement. I said the British public are going to turn on Anthony Joshua at a time where a lot of people were jumping on the Anthony Joshua bandwagon. And I said the British public are going to turn on Anthony Joshua. They're going to turn 360 on him. And the turn I could see beginning. The Deontay Wilder fiasco, which I call a fiasco, we all know that they did not want, from Joshua's part or his management or his promotional team, did not want to fight Deontay Wilder till 2021. That was very evident. There's enough video footage out there of Barry Hearn talking about not wanting Shelley Finkel and Wilder to fight Joshua. That's very clear. Okay, very clear. And I'm going to come back to that, how it all links to this. So there, right there, that situation where he sold 50 million and his bluff got called, that was a situation there. Then there was a situation where he was saying Wilder, calling Wilder's name out after fights, and that not like materializing. Then we had the Dillian White fiasco, which is when Dillian White confronted Joshua and he was talking about getting in line and blah blah blah. Okay, and then we had the famous statement, you know what, I'm not really looking to go to America. You know what, all the big fights need to happen here. A few months later, Anthony Joshua finds himself in America, fighting Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller opens his mouth a little too wide about Joshua, about this and that, and drugs and performance enhancing drugs and all the rest of it. Jarrell Miller suddenly gets sidelined. Before you know it, in comes Andy Ruiz. Now, according to Leon Muhammad, the reason why it was and Andy Ruiz and not someone like Trevor Bryan for the heavyweight championship of the world for Joshua to defend in America was because, according to Leon Muhammad, the promoter didn't want to do business with Al Heyman. Interesting. Who is attached with Al Heyman? Well, that's what he said. He didn't want to do the business. He didn't want to do business with Don King. Sorry, he didn't want to do business with Don King. So that's why he ended up doing business with Al Heyman and with the Ruiz fight, and we all know what happened there. Should have taken the Trevor Bryan fight. He might not have lost that fight. Anyway, so we have that situation right there. So you don't think through all of this that people are starting to get tired of Anthony Joshua. Then he gets beat by Ruiz. Then he has, multiple personalities where one minute he's saying one thing, next minute he's saying something else, to the point where he was saying that he wanted people to bow before him when he was going into rematch against Andy Ruiz. Throughout Joshua's career, for the most part, people have been saying he's a bit fake, okay, and he's media scripted. All right. Fair enough. So now, not too long ago, he was at the Black Lives Matter movement in London, protesting because of the recent death of a young man in America. Okay, so he's out there and he's basically saying, instead of investing money with racists, take the money and look after your own. That's what he said. Along those lines, what he's trying to say. And some people have taken offense to it. Bear in mind, the people that are taking offense to it are the same people that are benefiting from the position that they're in. And that's the first thing. And the second thing is, they're the same people that will turn around and tell you that there's no racism in the UK. See, when you say things, blanket statements like that, that means that once you don't accept something, you don't acknowledge something, that basically means that you don't care for it, and that you'll turn a blind eye to anything that may look remotely like pain. It's like telling somebody, your leg's not broken, you don't believe you got a broken leg, and the person's got a broken leg. If doctors were to respond the same way to some of the way these people respond, I'm in pain. No, you're not. I'm in pain. My heart's hurting me. No, you're not in pain. I don't see it. If doctors were to respond the same way that some of these racist people do, it'd be interesting. So Joshua said what he said now. And as far as I look at it, he's only said how he feels. And I want to go back a bit even further, because Joshua was heavily criticized. If you look at Joshua's team and its makeup, for the most part back then, he didn't have many black people around him. And I'm only telling you as a fact. I'm telling you from what I saw. There weren't many black people around him. But yet, now he's walking around in London with a whole heap of black people around him. So what happened? Are we seeing the Joshua now that is the real Joshua now that we're seeing? Is this what he always wanted to be? Is he basically turned around to the world and saying, you know what? I've made my money. Screw you all. I've made my money. I'll do what the hell I want. Is it that? I don't know, because what he's done here, this is like it or lump it. This is the way Joshua is going to be now. He feels almost betrayed by many people in the boxing business. And I feel he said, you know what? I'm making my money. And most of these people try to screw me over. So you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to do what I want. And you don't like me anyway. So I'm just going to stick with my own. See, the problem with this is, I'm not rambling. The problem with this is that start as you mean to go on. Joshua had the opportunity. He's had the opportunity to go and join the likes of Al Heyman a long time ago. He could have joined Al Heyman. He didn't. And had he taken the Al Heyman route, it would have been interesting to see whether A, the Wilder fight would have happened, or B, how his persona would have been under Al Heyman and not where he is currently. Okay, so I am speaking about this for a specific reason and purpose. See, now I want to talk about Tyson Fury just for a second. See, so the public has switched completely on Anthony Joshua. But let's go to the other side a second, because Tyson Fury himself has been a character that has been written off, has been called all sorts of very nasty names because of his background. And he hit an all-time low as champion. You know, when he won the title, you would have thought he'd been at all-time high, all-time low. You know, he was champion of the world. He'd beaten Klitschko, didn't get recognition for it. People have done a lot less and got MBE next to their name. He beats a long reigning world champion, no MBE next to his name. He goes, you know, mental health issues, blows up overweight, wants to kill himself, comes back. And now I remember the time where over Twitter, there's sort of insults and sort of nasty things people saying about Tyson Fury, absolutely insulting him, calling him all sorts of names and derogatory names. Tyson went through all that, said he used to get insulted walking down the street. Look at him now, heavyweight champion of the world. Again, beating Deontay Wilder, one of the most highest paid sportsmen now, or well, in boxing at least, and top of the tree. And what are they saying about him now? Oh, Tyson's best, Tyson's great, Tyson's this, Tyson's that, blah, 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 blah. You see him over Twitter. You see the people on Twitter now on Anthony Joshua's case. I want Fury not to beat Joshua. Boxing, I'm just showing you how fickle boxing fans are. They truly are very, very fickle people, boxing fans. And you're seeing it here again. So, throughout all the fickleness, this is kind of how I see it. Tyson Fury is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Well, prove me wrong on it. He never lost the other belts inside the ring, and he captured the WBC belt. He's undisputed champion for me. The only thing you could argue about is not got the WBA belt with Manwar Shah, which I think is a more legit belt than the WBA Super Championship belt. Okay, but for me, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. If you take out the WBA regular belt, okay, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He's won all the belts in boxing. Legitly. And he beat two dominant heavyweight champions. He beat Klitschko, long-reigning unified champion. He beat Deontay Wilder, long-reigning WBC champion. So I remember Tyson being on our channel just before he was out to go and fight Steve Cunningham. And he said to me, I'm the greatest heavyweight of this era. Now, who would argue with him now? He now has gone on and beaten two long-reigning heavyweight world champions. Two guys who arguably will go down as all Hall of Fame fighters. So now, you see, this situation now with this Joshua versus Fury fight, this fight is about Anthony Joshua legitimizing himself as the heavyweight champion of the world, because for all intended purposes, the belts that he's got are loaned out by Fury, because if Fury didn't give up those belts, he might still be champion today. See, because I know that Joshua would never got in the ring that night and fought Klitschko the night that Fury fought him. No. Well, I don't. I know that. The fans will turn and tell you different, but I know that. So, with both of these guys now going to fight one another, I want to add another point in just before I get onto this. The other point I want to mention is this. Remember when recently there was a statement that came out and said, we don't want politics to get in between Joshua and Fury. You don't want politics to get in between Joshua and Fury. So it was acceptable to have politics to get in between Joshua and Wilder. When that fight was there, that was $100 million fight for sure. Now, I'm not convinced that Joshua versus Fury makes the same amount of money. Here's the thing. Joshua's now been beaten by Andy Ruiz. That knocked a lot of his credibility. And his rematch against Andy Ruiz, yes, he won the fight, but it wasn't the sort of fight you'd say, that was great. So now Joshua has to put on some sort of performance post Andy Ruiz to show that he is some serious force in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, Fury is the undisputed champion. And it's just a matter of Joshua has to beat Fury. He has to beat Fury. It's as simple as that. He has to beat Fury. Because, all right, what will Joshua's claim to fame be? He beat Klitschko, who came out of retirement after 2 years to fight him. Fury had already beaten him. So what's the next statement? He beat an old Povetkin. Klitschko beat an old Povetkin. He beat Prime Povetkin. So So what does that mean? Do you get what I'm saying here? This fight isn't as big as people are pushing it out to be, because it's two British fighters. That's it. Two British fighters. That's it. Joshua versus Wilder was the big fight. Don't be fooled by no way, shape, or form. That was the fight. US versus UK. Two unbeaten heavyweights. Who's the best? Then. That's what it was. So you can thank the promoter for that going completely wrong. That super fight that we missed out on. So, yeah, there's a 2-fight deal, but frankly, I don't care. Personally speaking, I don't care. Do I go and see the fight? I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, the heavyweight champion of the world is Fury. He's been the guy who's been prepared to take the chances. He's been the guy who's prepared to go abroad. He's been the guy twice, 3 times in fact, go abroad. Went abroad to beat Klitschko, went abroad to fight Wilder, got off the canvas to fight Wilder, and come back again and beat Wilder. Now, in a previous video, I've talked about all the other theories that could have happened as to why Wilder got beat in my previous video. In one of the Worthing videos I did as to what I think could have happened. So, I can't tell you that I'm overexcited about this fight. I can't. So, how good is Anthony Joshua? How good is Anthony Joshua? I don't know. Is he better than Deontay Wilder? Is he better than Deontay Wilder? Good evening, Glenda. Is he better than Wilder? I don't know. Tyson Fury's just started getting respect from some greats like James Toney. Yeah, of course. The reason why he's getting those accolades is because he's gone on and gone in people's backyards and done the business. Joshua went in someone else's backyard and got beat, got dropped 4 times, and then had a rematch in another country. You know, went and didn't look spectacular doing it. You look at Lennox Lewis, he got beat by Hasim Rahman. He came back and he destroyed Rahman in the rematch. It is what it is. So I'm not I don't know mentally where Anthony Joshua is going into this Fury fight, to be honest. I really don't. I don't, because I wasn't totally convinced in the Ruiz fight. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I'm just not excited about it. I have to be honest. I'm not excited about it at all. Not at all. I'm not excited about Kubrat. I'm more excited about seeing how I would like to see Joshua fight Wilder. That would be nice. See Joshua versus Wilder, and then the winner take on Fury. That would be nice to see. Wilder's coming off a loss. Joshua's just regain the titles, and then fight him, make a defense against him. That'd be good. And let Dillian White fight Kubrat Pulev. That solves that. And then when the winner of those two got finished and solves that, then get Dillian White in and get Dillian White to fight whoever. If he beats Kubrat Pulev, Pulev should be the last guy to fight. Let White sort it out with Pulev. Let Joshua fight Wilder, and the winner fights Fury. You know, that would be nice. That'd be very nice. And on the subject of Tyson Fury become super champion with the WBC. If the WBC do that at a time where there's such racial tension around the world and people of color wanting justice, the WBC, who already have given 2 champions that are not of color super belts, or what do they call them again? They call the belts again? Not super belts. They call the damn belts again. Not linear, just stupid belt name. Franchise champion, that's it. Franchise champion. So if they decide to make that move yet again, when Deontay Wilder was WBC champion, long reign WBC champion, made more defenses of the title than obviously Tyson Fury. Never got a super belt or a franchise belt. Floyd Mayweather had how many versions of the WBC title going up the weights? Never got a franchise belt. So you tell me now, and I'm not making this a race thing. However, the way the WBC are moving, it seems it's like almost a protection belt. So you've got Dillian White there with that situation there. You had Dillian White, right, Devin Haney, and Charlo. Am I wrong there? Devin Haney, Dillian White, and Charlo. Interesting. You think it up. Devin Haney, wasn't he going to challenge Lomachenko for the belt? And then they gave him the WBC belt, am I correct? Then Charlo was going to challenge, wanted to fight Canelo for the WBC belt. They made him champion, franchise champion. Now Dillian White is wanting to challenge Tyson Fury and make a whole load of noise about it. They're talking about making him a franchise champion. That's 3 now. 3. So if somebody want to tell me what's going on here, is that if a person of color is challenging you for a belt, you'd be suddenly become franchise champion. I mean, I'm asking the question, and it's a legit question. I'm not playing a race card. I'm just asking a question. Does anybody want to answer the question on that one there? Because it seems to me that you have another situation here where, see, Leah Grahamson comes says, Mayweather never got anything like franchise champion, so how can it be based on boxing? It has to be race, in my opinion, as a white guy. Well, that's it. That is it. The protection belt. I mean, you know, and all 3 guys, if you look at them, White, Haney, and Charlo, they all look like guys to me that are going to bring some heavy work. And they're going to knock certain people out of positions, making a lot of money. And rather than give those guys a payday and open the doors to them, but here's this one. I'll throw this one out there. What about if there's an old boys club? And Dillian White don't want to be part of that club. So therefore they locked him out. And Charlo didn't want to be part of the club. And they locked him out. And Haney didn't want to be part of the club. And they locked him out. I wonder. I just wonder whether all these champions are in some sort of organization. And it's not a conspiracy theory. Because why is it certain people have to wait so long to get a title shot? Why is it Dillian White's had to wait so long for a title shot? I've heard people say, well, he declined the Lewis Ortiz fight. I heard that ring around a few times. But I find that quite tiresome as well, because I'm still trying to work out who Lewis Ortiz beat in the WBC rankings to earn him the shot to fight Deontay Wilder in the first place. I know in the WBA rank he was number 1. Who did he actually beat in the WBC? Can somebody please tell me? I'd like somebody to tell me, what was he in a final eliminator for the WBC? Was it number 1 versus number 2? Did that happen with Lewis Ortiz? I don't know. How did Lewis Ortiz become number 1? These are just questions I like to ask. People like to just jump and say, yeah, Luis Ortiz. And I remember telling people a long time ago about Luis Ortiz. Now people are going quiet about Luis Ortiz. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. That's just me. Me just waffling tonight. But yeah, so Fury versus Joshua. I would call this fight who's fooling who. Because one guy is, as far as I'm concerned, the undisputed champion. And the other guy has had his belts on loan. That's it. That's it. I mean, this. And the fact that the two guys from Britain. That really is it. You got one guy who's gone abroad and proven himself against two Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. Because Wilder will make Hall of Fame just for his punching power alone, his knockouts, and his long reigning title defenses. And the other guy, who the first time he went across the waters, got dropped 4 times and stopped. That really is that. Sorry. I'm sorry. When Wilder fought Fury, it was at least in the second the fight. You had one guy who had a record or had a number of title defenses, big punching Deontay Wilder, versus Tyson Fury, the former champion who'd beaten Vladimir Klitschko. So you had some sort of bar to say how good Fury was going into the fight against Wilder. But my take is, how good is Joshua? Well, he beat a Klitschko that was retired and came out of retirement. He beat an old Povetkin and he got destroyed by Andy Ruiz. And then in rematch, he kind of kept out of harm's way for 12 rounds against Andy Ruiz. Uninteresting, uninspiring fight. That's it. Don't worry, I'm sure between Sky and the promoter, they will find some way of spinning this fight around. But be interesting though. They could maybe have a side plot to this Hearn versus Warren, because obviously Fury's from the Warren camp, and then Joshua's from the Hearn camp. So Warren v Hearn, that's what it could be as well. Battling it out. So there. Anybody got any thoughts on what I've said tonight? And if Joshua were to beat Tyson Fury, what would be said then? Would Joshua become the best heavyweight in the division? No, because he'd still have to go and fight Deontay Wilder. So here we go again. Fury's already got a win over Wilder. If he beats Joshua, then the only thing that's left around really would be Dillian White, to be honest. Big Baby Miller. But, Dillian White deserves his shot. He's fought enough top contenders. Big Baby Miller's got a lot to prove. And everyone else after that is really playing contender job. They have to fight some marquee names. Joyce is fighting Dubois. That's good. Herkovich needs to step up. Who else is there? Yeah. So certain fighters have to step up and get some names on their resume that matter. I think that's about it from me. An interesting rant, different. Anybody got any thoughts on what I've said tonight? The press conference will be amazing. I'm not sure. Fury's quite, I don't know. Fury will out-talk Joshua. He'll out-talk Joshua. He'll get inside of Joshua's head. If Joshua's just got to block Fury out, he really has. And if there's any mental demons within Joshua, he better get them straightened out, because he's going against the mastermind himself, Fury, who'll play every trick in the book. Every trick in the book. You know, watch Fury. I said you got to watch him. All them mind games that Fury's going to play with Joshua. He'll remind him of the Ruiz fight. So, you know, it's... man. Personally, I want to see Joshua, White Joshua, and have since their first bout. Yeah, I'd like to see that again, actually. I'd love to see that again. Love to see that fight again. I think they're trying to swerve White for as much as possible. See, what I'd like to know is what Dillian White will do when he becomes champion. That's what I want to know. The WBC belt in Dillian White's hands, what would he do with it? Who would he fight? Who would he defend the belts against? What sort of a champion would Dillian White be like as WBC champion? Would he fight Jerome Miller in his first defense? Would he tackle Joshua? Would he try and fight Fury? Would he fight Luis Ortiz? Who would he fight in his first defense as WBC champion? And what sort of a fighter would Dillian White be as WBC heavyweight champion of the world? As I thought, and even if he does get that WBC belt and they elevate Fury to WBC super champion, they're not going to give Dillian White the respect. They say, look, somebody just threw you a bone. Nobody's going to give White that respect, even though he deserves it. Nobody's going to give White respect now. I say, Tyson's a real champion. You just got thrown a belt. And good luck to Dillian. He makes as much money as he can off it. But that's a real good way to discredit a person. Not give him what he deserves, but give him bones. Throw bones at him. Dear me. I really hope the WBC do not go ahead and do this, because it won't be cool. It will be a very not so smart move to do this particular time. I can't say too much of interest because I think you're on the money, Ingram. I just wonder if venue and tainted ice or water will play part in Fury Joshua bout. Well, they won't catch Fury like that, that's for sure. They'll definitely not get Fury like that. Fury's too smart for that. So they ain't catching him like that. They got Joshua. They may have got Joshua like that, but I don't think they'll get Fury like that. No. Gypsy King's too smart for that. He's got too many smart people around him for that. So if they have to get Fury, you'll have to get him some other way. They'll have to job him on points. They'd wrestle the belts off White for the slightest infringement if he were champion. Oh yeah. You know what's going on there. You know what's going on. So, I don't know. I want to know. The question is, what is Dillian White said or done or won't do? You know, when you're not part of a club, people shut you out. They don't give you the opportunities you don't want to get. Now watch this. Mike Tyson at 53 years old. If he went to Suleiman and said, you know what? I want to fight for the belt. You think he wouldn't put Mike in the top 10? I wonder if them both having the belts for the unification is mandatory for the fight in 2021. It's a good question. Have we seen any WBC unification fights? So WBC versus WBC champion. I mean, it's not good. Franchise belt. Better known as, we don't want that work belt. That's what it seems like. we don't want at work, or we won't give you a payday belt. Yeah, the money stays with us. Franchise, the money stays with us. The money stays with us. We've got the right connection and the right complexion. That's the franchise belt. I'm sorry. It is what it is. The right connections with the right complexion. That is what the franchise belt is. If somebody can prove me different through facts, then please do leave these comments in the comment section. I would love to know your thoughts on the franchise belt. I'm going on it. I'm waffling now, but I hope that I'm completely wrong about my thoughts about this franchise belt, and I really pray the WBC do not elevate Tyson to franchise champion, because they do that, 3 in a row. How many defenses did Deontay Wilder make of the WBC belt? It's not say the franchise belt was not around when Deontay Wilder was champion. You could say about Mayweather, you can't say about Deontay Wilder. No matter what you say about, oh, he's crap, he can't punt, he can't fight, the guy's a champion. Give the man his dues. If the same nonsense had to happen to Golovkin, if the same thing happened to Pacquiao, and one thing just to end on at all notes, Ryan Garcia. I am fed up of hearing about Ryan Garcia talking about likes and clicks and followers. This is boxing. This ain't Instagram. This is boxing. Yes, you have followers, which is great. You have been fighting C-class opposition, and you're talking about fighting A-class opposition. You ain't fought anyone near remotely B-class opposition, and you talk about you want to fight the best fights in the world. You don't even listen. That boy better just keep himself quiet. That boy better keep himself quiet. He better keep himself very quiet. You better keep himself very quiet, Ryan Garcia, because knocking out C-class opposition does not make you a top fighter. And I know for a fact, I have heard and I've seen my own eyes you take a whooping in the gym. Okay, bad whoopings as well. So it was a very smart move you joining with Canelo, because had you not joined with Canelo, your career was going in a position where, so what they're going to do is try and ease you through certain fights. You try and make a lot of money off of you, because you could be a cash cow. So they're not going to get you in any fights. They're not going to get you in any fights. Any fights that are meaningful, because you're a cash cow. You're a good-looking guy. You speak well. You understand? You've got followers. You know, you punch the bag very fast. Are you a substance fighter? Can you actually fight? Are you a genuine top 10 fighter? Nobody knows. But why, oh why, are you not fighting at least B-class level fighters? For the way you're talking. You are where you are more for your looks and your followers and the speed you hit a bag, more than actually the actual boxing ability, because you haven't fought anybody to test you for anybody to say, you know what, boy can fight. So I don't want to hear no more about Ryan Garcia. I don't want to hear, until he fights somebody of some caliber, of some note, of some sort of resume that can fight a bit. I don't want to hear about Ryan Garcia. I really don't want to hear about Ryan Garcia. If they could give Ryan Garcia a belt tomorrow, a world title belt, and milk him for it, they would. They could just give him belts. Hey, you world champion. They could. They would. But they can't. So they have to move him slowly, slowly, slowly. And he's like, oh, take the reins off me. You think they don't know what they're doing? You think they don't know what they're doing? They're going to try and keep him unbeaten for as long as possible. Trying to go down the old Mayweather route. They can't do Canelo. So they're going to try and do it with all Ryan. And old Floyd saw what was going on. And he saw how they took Ryan Garcia. And they took him in with Canelo. So Floyd went, is that the way you're moving? Okay. Let me go and get Devin Haney. Let me work with Devin. Watch the war. Watch it. This is where war is beginning. It's brewing, as far as I'm concerned. It's brewing. Ryan Garcia with Canelo on them, and Devin Haney with Floyd. So I don't put much faith in Tank Davis. I don't think he is going to last for a long time in boxing. I don't think he's got the discipline. I think he's got too much too soon. And I just don't think that Tank is going to last. I just don't. I'm sorry. I think he's one of these guys that are going to fade away. In the past, Garcia's gotten fame from wins. In this era, he has fame without the need for calculable. Exactly. That's the point, Leif. That's my point. But that's the way it is. You don't have to be able to fight anymore. KSI and the YouTube fighters, that's where we're at today. You don't have to be able to fight. You just need a following. You just need a following. That's the caliber of boxing we've got today. That's what we call pay-per-view today. That's the level of integrity we've got in boxing today. So we can let two guys who've never had an amateur bout, or had one amateur bout, if you want to call it that, turn pro and fight for pay-per-view. Think about that. Think about that. And make lots of money doing it. And there are other guys out there who've done their job, fought hard in amateurs, got cheated out of good opportunities to win certain belts. I've done it the hard way, turn pro. I will never get a sniff of being a pay-per-view fighter and have far more skill than those YouTubers. Think about that. Why should that be allowed? Because they've got followers on YouTube? Really? Boxing has become a joke, and it's become, like I said before, the WWE. Shocking. And that's why I've got so much respect for UFC. So much respect. The best are fighting the best. Or for the most part. And if you lose, you can always come back. Right. Unless there's anything else anybody has to say. Yes. When are they bringing out a new boxing game? You better ask Round for Round Boxing that. All I was doing is when I got the information, I was promoting it on the channel. So I don't know. But I will say this much. It's all well and good talking about getting a video game. But it's not as easy as it sounds. When you have to start dealing with all the fighters and the promoters and the managers, they all want to cut the game. And they want money up front. They don't understand, a lot of these people don't understand the business of, downloadable content and how they can make the money on downloadable content. They don't understand that. They just want the money now. And this is one of the big problems that round for round probably was struggling with is, I wouldn't say they're struggling because they've got some good fighters on it, but they're probably struggling with that. So they'll have to throw a hell of a lot of money at it. And really, on the subject of video games and DAZN, money being spent unwisely. Well, when you're trying to compete with someone like Al Heyman, you knew it was a disaster from the start because they've got run into financial difficulties. I mean, why would you give GGG all that money? GGG was like 35 years old and you signed him to some ridiculous contract. Why? For what? How many of the guys that DAZN signed were pay-per-view stars? How many of the fighters they signed on DAZN did they really spend the investment in to promote? I could have done a better job than DAZN did, right? Because majority of those guys who've got on DAZN have got no backstory, and if they do have a backstory, you don't know about it or you don't care about it because they haven't built their personalities. Look at the ITV Big Fight Special. You knew all the fighters that were on ITV because they had a backstory, whether it be Ben, Eubank, Collins, um, uh, Robin Reed, um, Harold Graham, Frank Bruno. They were household names. Why were they household names? Because they built a backstory. But the people that are involved behind this, they're not boxing people. They're accountants. They're financial bankers. They're not boxing people. And that's why they don't know what the hell they're doing. You've got to build a champion. Build a champion. Get them advertisement out. Get them known outside of boxing. Do you understand? I learned a lot from, do you know Emmanuel Augustus, the drunken boxer? Yeah, him. They used to fight like a drunken man. Yeah, he got a deal on EA Sports as one of the boxers in EA Sports, either Knockout Kings or Fight Night. And I know his manager, and his manager got him on that game. Right, so he knew what he was talking about. And what they've got here, what they've done at DAZN, an absolute disaster. Golovkin, all the time, Golovkin, big drama show. It's like, is that it? Big drama show. And then you're putting him against guys that either are beating his ass or shouldn't be in the ring with him. Come on. Danny Jacobs, who cares? Andrade, who cares? Skilled guys, but who cares? Who cares? You sign a whole heap of fighters to DAZN that people like, saying, okay, yeah, they can fight, but who cares? Robert Reed, Joe Kazaki finally uploaded recent by Frank Warren on YouTube. Good old days. Yeah, that was a great fight. Great fight. Great fight. Great fight. And good build up as well. And those are two guys they had a backstory. Kazaki and Robin Reed. I mean, if you want to know a backstory about most fighters today, you have to go on YouTube and you have to go to the boxing websites to find out, which made me think about the interview I did with Terence. If you go back and check out my interview, I did interview Terence Crawford. If you go back and listen to my interview with Terence Crawford, it's out there now. I kind of rebranded it. Check out. It's called Who is Terence Crawford? Go listen to that interview. And if you listen to that interview, you will hear about who Terence Crawford is. And you listen to what he's saying. And you watch what's going on now. You know the heart of a fighter. You know what a fighter's thinking. Because when you go back and listen to those interviews all the way back then, it gives you an indication what a fighter's thinking. Even when I talk to Thurman, you go all the way back and listen to those Thurman fights, interviews. You go back and listen to all them Fury interviews. You go back and listen to the Usyk interview I did. You go back and listen to the Bivol interview I did. All these things with guys who just become champion or before they became champion. And you really get to hear the heart of these fighters. There's a backstory. That's what it's all about, building a fighter up. Right, I think I'm out here. Yeah, I'm definitely out of here. Right, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave comments, but most importantly now, I'm going to ask you, if you can, share this video. Share this video, tag it, share it with other people. Let's get people talking. Let's get people in the room talking. And leave your comments in the comment section suggesting what the next video should be. All right, this is your channel, so let us know what the next subject should be. You've been watching BWTM Sports, and we're out. Thanks for watching.